How often, James, do you think of that night?
I don't know. It's an event that happened, and it may bring it up, or hearing about it. Another sporting event, and they would compare it. But,
Can you go anywhere without it being brought up?
Sure, but eventually, I guess it is, brought up. They'll say something about where they were that night, and how they felt.
What's the funniest story you've heard about where someone was when they heard the news?
Well, I don't know. It's just so many.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
What's your snapshot memory of that whole night? The one image that you'll always remember?
Hearing my name being announced as the heavyweight champion of the world.
Really?
Yes, that would be another moment.
What were you thinking as you're watching the invincible Mike Tyson on his hands and knees trying desperately to find his mouthpiece? What's going through your mind at that moment?
Satisfaction. It's been a childhood dream of mine of one day being a heavyweight champion or a champion, and growing into the heavyweight division, and hearing my name being announced as the heavyweight champion of the world would have to be, that was my moment.
Yeah. Your mother passed away just 3 weeks before the fight. What effect did that have on you when you stepped in the ring that night in Tokyo?
Well, it just made everything even more intense, more determined. Leading up to it, leading up during the training, it was very intense. And then, speaking with her, she came over to the house just a few days before she passed, and we had a heart-to-heart. And then once she passed, then it just made it even more determined, more tangible, so to speak.
A heart-to-heart. What did she say to you that you took into the ring with you that night?
Well, she was asking me questions about how I felt and mentally, where was I? Then once she left, she was satisfied with the fact that I was doing what I was supposed to do leading up to the fight, and I was taking care of business and looking forward to the challenge.
Could you feel her with you in the ring?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
You may have been the only... John Johnson, your trainer, believed too, and I've talked with him about this. You had a firm belief, not a hope. The two of you firmly believed you were going to win.
No doubt.
Why?
I mean, we know what it took for us to get there. This wasn't something that I was walking down the street and Don King drove up and said, hey, would you like to fight for the heavyweight championship?
Right.
You look on my record, I had beat several contenders to get that shot.
Sure.
That shot wasn't given to me. I earned that. But it was just that Mike was just a force, and he dominated the media, that you didn't think about no one else. So
right.
And I earned this shot I earned that to get to where I was. And I was on a 6-7 fight winning streak and beat some talented fighters, to get that shot.
Right.
So
were you intimidated at all? Because we've seen the highlights. He was just mowing people down.
Right. And a lot of those cards I was on. I fought on the undercards, co-featured a couple of them.
Right.
And, I was right there in the heart of it all.
When was the last time you saw Mike?
That night.
You haven't seen him since that night?
We haven't crossed paths since then.
Really?
Yes.
What would you say to him if you had the opportunity to talk to him?
Well, I would thank him for the opportunity.
Right.
One, and but just have a general conversation,
I'm surprised that it's been 20 years and you haven't come across him. You had a battle with your weight afterwards and some health issues, and now you have a new book. It's called Buster's Backyard Barbecue Knockout Diabetes Diet. Tell us a little bit about this and how you came up with the idea.
Well, I was over a friend of mine's house, and we were talking about diabetics, being a diabetic, and his father was a diabetic, and he was saying how he prepared his father's meals, and then I was telling him what my experiences were being a diabetic, and how going from regular food to diabetic food was a big change, and we had discussed recipes, some of the things that I do differently with my food, and instead of having sugars, it's having substitutes, sweeteners and stuff, and through that conversation and continuous just talking about it, we decided to come up with the Buster's Backyard Barbecue.
It's worked. Where are you now weight-wise? You look great.
I feel good. I feel good. I'm probably about 265.
All right.
Which is normally.
And you were at one point, what was your highest?
I probably exceeded over 350 pounds.
Wow. Well, you look great. Congratulations. 20 years later, someone has to work on a reunion, a Mike Tyson, James Buster Douglas sit-down reunion. I think that would be interesting. James, always good to catch up with you. Good luck with the book, and it's good to see you again. By the way, you can see more of James tonight. He's on Friday Night Fights. You'll see that right here on ESPN2.